Alright, Crypto Millennial here. So yeah, you guessed it. I'm back with another video in the Avalanche space, and the project we're going to look at today is called Wrestling Metaverse. So if you follow them on Twitter or you're in the Discord, you would have known that recently they dropped their white paper, and yeah, it's an absolute beast. It's 80 plus pages long, and the amount of detail that's in that is absolutely unreal. It's nothing like I've seen before in the crypto space. So my challenge really for today is being able to summarize that for you guys and not having this video be 3-4 hours long, because it really could be. But we're going to keep going. It's going to be similar style to my previous ones, where we'll try and break it down for you in a clear, concise manner. We'll go through the main subjects that I believe are important in relation to this project, so that you are more informed and understand exactly what Wrestling Metaverse is all about. Before we launch into going through the white paper, just some disclaimers. I'm not being paid by Wrestling Metaverse to create this video. It's solely my own opinions and what I've drawn from looking into this project and how I understand the white paper. Please do your own research. Don't invest based off anything that I say. It's got to be your own decision based on your financial circumstances. Lastly, Wrestling Metaverse had their pre-sale on the 18th of February, where whitelisted users were able to buy a Wrestling Metaverse NFT. They released 750 pieces on Kalao Go. The remaining pieces of the collection, so the total collection is 7,500 original NFTs. The remaining 6,750 is planned to be released in their public sale sometime in March. So now we're ready to dissect the white paper. Before we go through that, I picked out a few lines from Wrestling Metaverse's most recent Medium article around what the project is. Wrestling Metaverse is a next-generation combat sports game powered by blockchain technology. It will provide players with an MMO metaverse experience that rewards the participants and provides true in-game ownership. So let's scroll down and take a look at the white paper. So you can see here, very detailed, lots of different areas that it touches on, and I'm going to just kind of pick through the main things from my opinion that I think you need to know about. So I'm going to keep scrolling down to the vision. Looking at Wrestling Metaverse's mission statement then, it says, "Our vision is to be the largest combat sports metaverse connecting gamers, fans and athletes in an immersive and endlessly fun environment." That's the Wrestling Metaverse vision. Let's keep it rolling then. Skip through a few sections and then get down to the mission. Our mission is to be the digital home for all combat sports fans and athletes. Starting with professional wrestling as our first entry point, we'll bring sports combat games into the new digital age in which in-game asset ownership, community-led governance and multiplayer experiences matter the most. The Wrestling Metaverse will be a digital realm that will provide players with balanced and competitive multiplayer gameplay, intense PvP battles and creative PVE showdowns, a ranking system where the best win championship belts, daily quests and tasks to keep in-game characters in shape, strategic meta gameplay through factions known as promotions, and an opportunity to connect with real professional wrestling heroes. So if we keep scrolling down, then we get to this Wrestling Metaverse overview. 1, you're going to be able to have intense PvP and PvE matches with meta gameplay never seen before in combat sports. So what that involves is that you're going to be able to fight 1v1 head-to-head matches, competing for rewards. There's going to be also a seasonal league ranking system, and they're going to invite top players to compete in exclusive PPV matches, and in those you'll have opportunity to win rare rewards and championship belts. Wrestlers are the NFTs that are fully customizable and can be leveled up and also traded, like on official marketplaces like Kalau. So the NFTs are what you use in game. As well as that, there's going to be 2v2 matches to allow players to team up with friends. They're going to use the blockchain to empower asset ownership and community lead governance. The Wrestling Metaverse will enable players to own their own assets in the form of the NFTs. These include the wrestlers, the attire, and the promotions. And you're going to be able to use the NFTs to play the game or collect for nostalgia or speculative purposes. There's going to be a primary and secondary marketplace where these can be bought and sold. And additionally, players can propose and vote for changes they wish to see within the game using the native token known as WM. So it seems like they're releasing a token, and we'll see more further down how kind of that model works. If we keep going down then through the rest of this, Wrestling Metaverse is essentially going to become a thriving, active game similar to a country. Their goal is to ensure that this country is sustainable in the long term, whilst also rewarding the players, fans, and wrestlers who contribute to the metaverse. There's going to be play and earn reward mechanics via stablecoin and native tokens. Wrestling Metaverse is a play to earn game that rewards players for contributing. I think the main thing for this one for me is that through the different tokenomic models, they're going to be rewarding players with stablecoin as well as their own native token. So usually in the play to earn games currently, it's in the native tokens or tokens. They're not really giving out stablecoins. So yeah, it's nice to see that being incorporated because that's something a bit different. And then finally, it's going to be used as a gateway to connect fans to athletes through NFT ownership and community. So they're going to be getting professional wrestlers involved and using this as kind of a social aspect to be able to connect communities, bring people together who are massive wrestling fans. So if we keep it rolling, we're just getting down towards the end of this Wrestling Metaverse overview section, and there's quite a good summary here of the benefits to each user who participates in the Wrestling Metaverse ecosystem. So players, they're going to be able to compete in these PvP and PvE matches that we said before to gain popularity, to participate in these special PPV fights where they can win rare rewards or a title. Players are also going to be able to earn tokens through playing and contributing to the Wrestling Metaverse. From a fan perspective then, they can collect the NFTs of their favourite wrestlers for nostalgia or speculative purposes. They're also going to be able to engage with their favourite wrestlers in the metaverse. From a wrestler perspective then, they can earn additional income through the sale of their NFTs, and they're also going to be able to engage with their fan base through the social events hosted within the game. So as well as a game with PvP mechanics and stuff, there's also going to be that social aspect where it's very fan focused. We keep going through this then, not going to touch on the purpose of the white paper. We then get to the core gameplay elements and the pillars. So to summarize, there's these main activities that you can do within the game. So you've got those PvE showdowns where Wrestling Metaverse and XP can be earned by winning in the PvE mode. You'll be able to do these PvP and PPV matches. There will also be this territory wars activity that you can participate in, control more territories and promotions, which in turn provides you with more Wrestling Metaverse token. And then there's these like daily quests where you can earn by fulfilling these daily quests. So whether it's training in the gym, crafting attire that you can upgrade and fully customize, these are sort of these daily quests where you can earn that WM token. That's that section done. So we're going to carry on going through down to the wrestler NFT section. So I'm sure you're aware by now, but if you're not, the wrestlers are the playable characters that you use in the Wrestling Metaverse game, and they can be used to participate in those different utility mechanisms we talked about. So taking part in the matches, fulfilling those daily quests, or training new wrestlers. The wrestlers will be minted as NFTs, and eventually they'll have their stats, their wins and losses, and their ownership history all on the blockchain. So you'll be able to see all of that publicly, the win-loss records, and in those like ranking leaderboards. Additionally, you can buy and sell them on primary and secondary. We talked about that. And then this part down here around each wrestler will have their own set of stats, which defines what sort of style of wrestling they're proficient in. Talking about then the actual makeup of the supply. So there's 3 different types of wrestlers. There's the Wrestling Metaverse Originals, a collection of 7,500 limited edition Genesis wrestlers. There's then the Pro Wrestlers, which are real pro wrestlers who've officially given their likeness to Wrestling Metaverse. So this is going to be any partnerships or pro wrestlers that Wrestling Metaverse signs. And then also there's going to be these user generated wrestlers. So users can create their own through training mechanisms. So yeah, that's pretty interesting that users are going to be able to create their own. For the real diehard fans will be able to see their own thing in the game and play with it. So we're going to continue going through the NFT section of this. There's more information on the WM Originals, the Pro Wrestlers, and then obviously the user generated wrestlers. So if we get down then to the rarity levels and distribution, each wrestler has got its own designed rarity level and rarity traits associated to it. The rarity distribution will be the same across WM Originals, Pro Wrestlers, and user generated wrestlers. The rarity distribution is as below. At 80% is common, 10% uncommon, 6% rare, 3% super rare, and 1% legendary. So if we keep going down, then there's information here around what the different rarity traits mean. So in relation to WM Originals, if you've got a legendary wrestler, you're able to do 12,500 matches maximum. You're able to put your wrestler through rehabilitation, and the training limit is 7 times. Also, the earning potential is slightly more, so I'm assuming this is per fight, it's times by this multiplier. And then again, this is the rarity distribution broken down, so you can see how this differs for originals to pro wrestlers. The main difference is around the multiples, as you can see, and also the match count. The rarity distribution is still the same. So the WM Originals are always going to have more match count limit and earning potential than the pro wrestlers. And the user generated wrestlers have a slightly higher earning potential for the legendaries, but they have less match count than 12,500 maximum for the legendaries. But yeah, that's interesting to see how that all differs per the wrestlers. We're going to continue going through to the next section, which is around land infrastructure. So this is a key section. It's quite a big section, but I'm going to try and break it down for you, give you kind of the high level information so that you're aware of what this is. But essentially, it's going to incorporate 3 key things: territories, promotions, and then down here, gyms. So what a territory is a plot of land within the Wrestling Metaverse, and there's multiple territories within the Wrestling Metaverse. The utility behind this is that it's a region within the Wrestling Metaverse that contains multiple promotions. The promotions exist inside territories, and the territories cannot be purchased or owned by players. They're owned solely by the Wrestling Metaverse company. Down to promotions then, Promotion is a building within the Wrestling Metaverse. Each promotion is an NFT. There's going to be multiple promotions within the Wrestling Metaverse, and the utility of these is that it's a building within the Wrestling Metaverse where players can fight against other players. These promotions can be purchased and sold via primary and secondary markets, as well as potentially being won via in-game rewards. And the promotion owners / promoters are going to be able to initiate in these territory war invasions that we'll cover down below. Down then to gyms. It's pretty straightforward then, as you'd imagine. Gyms are facilities within the Wrestling Metaverse. Each gym is paired with a promotion, and any change in ownership or management rights of that promotion is reflected within the gym. The utility then is that the facility can be used by players to upgrade their wrestlers' movesets. You can learn different moves, train new wrestlers. The gyms cost a small amount of WM token to be used, and therefore become yield generating for their owners and promoters. And a gym can be managed by either the promoter who owns it or by an invading promoter who successfully takes that over and then holds the management rights to the gym. But we'll cover down below exactly how that game flow works. We're going to carry on smashing through this section, then get down to the promotions. I'm not going to read everything on here, but essentially each promotion will have an owner, a promoter, and a roster. The owner is the person that owns the promotion. A promoter is the person / entity that has management rights of the promotion, and a roster are the players who choose to fight with their wrestler NFT inside of that promotion. Keep going through the territories. As we said earlier, they're geographical areas where several promotions can be located within. Gives you a bit of an example of how it works in this example. So you've got like the Southeast, East Coast, Central South, West Coast territories. And then some more information on territory wars. But basically, it's kind of a Clash of Clans kind of aspect in that you can invade one territory and potentially win that territory and gain rights to it. So in this example, they've got ice wrestling territory invading the south. As we continue through, then we're not going to read that territory wars section, but we get down to a good graphic that gives us an overview on how the land infrastructure works. So basically, this is kind of the hierarchy. You have the territories sat at the top. These are the geographical areas. Within those territories, you have promotions, and within those promotions, you have a roster. So you have territory as the overarching thing. Inside of those territories, that's made up of promotions and gyms. And then finally, within the gyms and promotions, you have a roster. So we're going to carry on going through the land infrastructure section to the last part of this, which is around how territory wars works. So this is like a game flow infographic to help you understand exactly how it works. So in this example, West Coast initiates an invasion against Central South. Central South then has to rally their roster of wrestlers to defend against the promotion. What then takes place is a large-scale battle, PvP, for the management rights of Central South. And then in this example, West Coast wins, and now, as you can see, the colour change gets the rights of that Central South. So basically, you're going to be able to invade these different areas, and providing you win, you're going to gain those management rights. That's the end of the land infrastructure section then. We're going to carry on going through the white paper. We're going to skip past this gym part because we just talked about that. And then we're going to look at attire. So obviously an attire is important because it's kind of how that wrestler wants to communicate to the fans. And it sounds like attire in Wrestling Metaverse is going to play a significant role, because not only is it going to be cosmetic, but you're also going to be able to get in-game enhancements of the wrestler for wearing different attire. So that's potentially going to affect their styles or their stats. So it's pretty interesting that you're going to be able to further kind of outside of the training customize your wrestler to gain a small advantage on your opponent. Final part on the attire then. So the collection is going to be made up of two different collections. You're going to have the WM Original Attire Collection, which is released by Wrestling Metaverse and will be based on popular culture themes within the Web3 gaming and wrestling communities. And then you're also going to have the Pro Wrestler Attire, where from time to time the Wrestling Metaverse will release attire that matches the gear real professionals wore during their careers. So potentially you're going to be able to get the famous Undertaker attire or the Kane attire. It will be interesting to see how that plays out. So we're going to carry on going through the white paper then, and we're going to cover now the rankings and champions. So division rankings, there's going to be 3 Wrestling Metaverse divisions: the Wrestling Metaverse Champion, Wrestling Metaverse Junior Champion, and Wrestling Metaverse Tag Team Champion. The division is going to be thought of as a league, and within each promotion there'll be several divisions in that, and each division will have its own ranking board and its own champions. So basically you're going to be fighting your way to the top. The top wrestler in each division will be the holder of the championship belt, and obviously people are going to want to fight for the championship belt, so you're going to have to regularly defend that. And basically as well, the lower divisions are going to earn slightly less rewards than the higher divisions for victories. So yeah, you're incentivized to want to fight your way to the top and be in the best division, but obviously being in the top division means that winning won't be as easy. On to championship belts then. Basically the holders of these are going to be the top ranked players in these various leagues. To get a championship belt, players are going to have to defeat the current champion, who is ranked number 1 of these various leagues. And the interesting thing for me is that championship belt holders are going to be able to get lucrative deals that see them earn more compared to other players. So yeah, there's really benefit in being a champion in the divisions, because you're going to generate more rewards, get more bonus from the daily quests, stuff like that. So it's going to be really sought after to hold one of these belts. But obviously it's not going to be easy to keep hold of one, because you're going to continually be challenged by other players in the game. On to the next section then, we're going to cover matches. So there's 3 main types of matches that we talked about: PvP, PvE and PPV. The PvP matches then, these are going to include singles competition, which is 1v1 head to head, or tag team, which is 2v2 matches where you take on another team with a partner. Players are going to be able to compete in these PvP matches. A match is expected to last between 10 and 20 minutes depending on the playstyle, wrestler's stats and obviously the player's skill. A player wins a match by pinning or submitting their opponent. Players can lose by being counted out if they spend too long outside of the ring as well, and dual countouts will result in both players losing. Secondly then, we've got the PvE showdown matches. So these are player versus environment showdowns where 4 wrestlers fight together against a dozen of CPU wrestlers who've been paid by promoters to eliminate them. And these showdowns are akin to horde style matches like in Gears, Call of Duty and Halo. So like zombies in Call of Duty, there's just going to be hordes of CPUs that keep entering in the ring that you are going to need to together work with the other wrestlers to eliminate, to ensure that you all win at the end. And basically participating in these PvE showdowns is going to incur several match counts because of the dangerous nature. But the interesting thing to me is that you're going to be able to earn much greater rewards. And I also quite like the idea of playing with other users in the community. Yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. And then lastly, if the CPUs win, then the promoter of that promotion will earn the rewards, so that will get distributed to that promotion. Lastly then, we've got the PPV matches. So every season, once a month, the top ranked players are going to be invited to compete in PPVs for the chance to earn special rewards and championship belts. And these PPV once a month matches are going to include any of the following styles. So it could be a cage match, Obviously, you know kind of what that style is if you've watched wrestling before, like Hell in a Cell. But basically, it's like this image up here, steel cage surrounding the entire ring, and can be used to smash opponents into or jump off, go on the outside of. That'll be interesting. Also, that's very hot right now is the Battle Royale format. So if you're a gamer, you'll be aware of this kind of style where everyone drops in and is the last person standing in the Battle Royale wins. So in relation to this game, it's going to be a free-for-all. 30 wrestlers are going to compete to be the last man standing, and whoever is the last one in wins. And this is like the Royal Rumble style wrestling where you throw people outside of the ring to eliminate them. And then finally, you've got table, ladders and chairs, where these are the hardcore matches with objects, and the person that wins has to climb up that ladder and grab the mystery box. So they used to do these in like WrestleMania and stuff. That's the different style of matches covered off then. So there's 3 main types. We carry on going through. We've got some examples of what the daily quests will include. So signing autographs, producing vlogs, cutting promos, selling merch. This is how you can gain XP by doing these daily quests. We'll carry on further down then to styles. So each wrestler is going to have different styles that affect their stats. So as a result of that, the players must choose different strategies depending on which style they're going to be up against to win the matches. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but they've opted to include 9 different styles into the game. So if we go through then to this next thing around the styles, strength and weakness triangle. So similar to Pokemon's water, fire, grass, strength, weakness, Wrestling Metaverse has created this kind of model where each style gains a slight advantage on another style. So just for example, strong gets a 5% gain on any showman, technician or lucha libre, and then consequently this group gets a 5% gain on hardcore, submission or dirty, and then they get a 5% gain on these. So it's kind of a continuous loop. You're going to have to be strategic against what you're up against to create, you know, the best chances of you winning. Getting that small gain could make all the difference. As we carry on through the styles then, we're on now the moveset section. So there's going to be 3 different levels of movesets. Wrestlers start off first with a base level of moves in their arsenal, and you can learn new moves through training in the gyms and also being on the receiving end of them in a wrestling match. So if someone does a move on you, you can probably learn it by the sounds of it. So the 3 different levels are basic, so these are low damage but easy to execute. Intermediate, where they do medium damage and their medium execution toughness. And then advanced moves that do high damage but are really difficult to execute. The damage a move can inflict can be increased through upgrading its stats using XP. And yeah, this is really interesting here. It says XP can only be earned through winning PvP and PVE matches or spending time at the gym and fulfilling daily quests. It cannot be bought or received through secondary sales. So this is massive. So you're going to need to be playing the game to get XP. You can't just buy XP tokens anywhere. It's not a pay to win. The only way that you can get better is through playing this game, and it gives everyone an equal opportunity. You're not able to just buy loads of XP, and upgrade your character straight away. You're going to need to be playing it. So yeah, that's really interesting. And I think finally then there's about each wrestler will only be able to perform a limited number of moves, but as you gain more XP, they'll be able to add more into their move sets. So yeah, you just want to keep leveling up your wrestler to give you more choice. Continuing on then through the white paper, we're going to quickly look at some gameplay loops. The Wrestling Metaverse has 2 key gameplay loops, micro and macro. So just down below we've got a micro gameplay loop with the entry and exit points. So it starts with purchasing a wrestler NFT. You fight in matches, and you earn tokens and XP. So you could either sell those tokens or upgrade and train new wrestlers and continue that loop, or you can upgrade and train those wrestlers and sell those wrestlers back in the secondary market, which then allows other people to start the loop again. Onto the macro loop then. This could be for someone that's not particularly interested in the 1v1 combat wrestling style, but instead is more interested in the promotions. So how this gameplay loop works is you buy the promotion NFTs, you create a roster, and then you successfully invade territories, and then you're earning rewards from those territories, and you can just kind of keep that in a continuous loop, amassing rosters, invading territories, doing it that way. And of course you can then sell your rewards. Also, there's a good graphic here on the Wrestling Metaverse overall participation loop. So the players will be getting rewards for playing the game. The treasury is providing governance to the game whilst also getting revenue from the gameplay. The treasury also provides rewards to the WM token holders, and the WM token holders are providing governance to the WM treasury. So we're going to carry on going through the white paper. Now onto the tokenomics, which is my favorite part of deep diving into any white paper. So Wrestling Metaverse is saying here that they're reinventing in-game rewards forever. Current tokenomics models of play and earn games are not self-sustaining. Therefore, WM aims to create a sustainable in-game economy and price stability of the WM token and WM NFTs, and they're going to do it through three main mechanisms. First one, the Wrestling Metaverse will be the first ever play and earn game to issue stablecoins as part of its rewards to players. So I said about this earlier. Stablecoins will be issued as rewards in addition to the WM token, therefore reducing the inflationary challenges faced by current gaming tokens. Also going to create powerful NFT upgrade mechanisms that incentivizes players to use their WM token to further upgrade their NFTs, which in turn yields higher rewards and increases the overall value of the wrestler NFTs without making the game become pay to win. Also, utilizing the WM treasury to yield farm stablecoins and eventually perform NFT and token buybacks. Carrying on through the tokenomics, as we're aware, WM is going to be the native token that Wrestling Metaverse uses to drive the gameplay and all the economic activities. WM is also the governance token for the Wrestling Metaverse, as well as a payment token for in-game purchases and leveling up of the NFTs and assets. Players are going to be able to earn both WM and stablecoins, like we said, through competing within the Wrestling Metaverse. Emissions of WM versus stablecoins will depend on various economic factors inside and outside of the Wrestling Metaverse. Wrestling Metaverse's goal is to align the incentives between players, early backers and future developers through novel and exciting ways. We have two main goals: to reward players for interacting with WM while simultaneously rewarding them for holding on to their tokens and NFTs. Also, to decentralize the ownership and governance of the Wrestling Metaverse. The WM treasury will begin accruing a percentage of revenue raised from primary and secondary sales, as well as in-game transactions, and this treasury will eventually be governed by holders of the WM token and NFTs. So you're going to be able to vote on the proposals for the treasury. So that's pretty interesting. And the treasury receives inflows from WM originals being sold on primary and secondary markets, as well as the user generated ones and the pro wrestlers. Treasury also earns the WM portion of the training fee, a percentage of all the attire and promotion transactions, and there's going to be more revenue streams that are going to be added in the future forms, like attire sales, PPV entry fees, licensing fees. So that's all exciting. We're not going to cover why stablecoin rewards help native tokens value, but what we will do is look at the allocations and unlock schedule. On the allocations and unlock schedule then, we're just going to go through this graphic below. Essentially, the total supply of WM token is going to be 1 billion. This limit will never increase, so it's a fixed supply, not inflationary token. And the WM token distribution is going to be as follows. So you can see the different allocations, how many tokens, what percentage the supply is. So for listings and liquidity, they've allocated 4%. For rewards and emissions, 25%. Ecosystem rewards and liquidity, 5%. Development fund, 10%. Ecosystem growth, 4%. The Firefly team, 20%. Pre-seed fund, 8%. Public sale, 4.5%. Private sale, 19.5%. And then that brings us to the 100%. So we're going to carry on going through the tokenomics. There's another chart here that illustrates the fastest possible issuance of the WM token over the years. So you got the different colors, how that changes over the different months. Not going to go through all of that now. And then there's more information on the listing, liquidity pool, rewards, but this is what we talked about in the previous one. We're going to just skip through this, and we've got a nice graphic here on the issuance again, the breakdown, how that is fixed between the different areas. And we're going to keep on going through now the long-term sustainability. We're going to just skip through these, and we're going to just look really at this nice graphic again. So WM token sync loop. So purchase the NFTs, earn stable coins as native tokens as rewards. You can upgrade your NFTs, which then you can customize your wrestlers and purchase new attire. You can train new wrestler NFTs, and you can enhance and learn new moves for your NFTs. You can also then, for upgrading your NFT, decide to either trade or sell that wrestler NFT on the marketplace, and then use those funds to purchase a more powerful NFT. So that's kind of the WM token sync loop. I'm going to carry on going through the white paper then. We're almost there. Look at the governance part. So this is the long-term vision of Wrestling Metaverse, and what they want to do is become an autonomous community-owned game, fully controlled and funded by decentralized governance and on-chain voting. So the phases of governance deployment are split into 3 parts. So phase 0 is the governance token genesis event. Initially, the WM token will not have any governance rights, but it will provide an opportunity for believers of the project to accumulate the Wrestling Metaverse token, which later translates into governance rights. Phase 1 then, staking contract deployment. So the Wrestling Metaverse team will develop a staking smart contract, which will allow WM holders to stake their token. State tokens will translate to governance rights. Token holders will receive rewards in exchange for locking their WM tokens. So tokens are going to be locked up, supply is going to be reduced, and you're going to receive rewards for locking up your tokens. Phase 2 then is about DAO and governance. So they're going to launch on-chain voting to the Wrestling Metaverse. Governance parameters will gradually increase over time as the community and ecosystem grows. And then finally, phase 3, NFT governance functionality. They're going to introduce additional governance functionality tied to each wrestler NFT in the game. A reputational system will also be implemented to ensure that the holders of large amounts of WM token cannot simply take over the Wrestling Metaverse and introduce changes that the wider community does not find beneficial to the game. So they might be trying to perhaps push through a change regarding a specific set of movesets, and they own all of the NFTs that do those moves. That would be unfair, so they're going to try and implement something that accounts for that. We're going to carry on going through then to the revenue model. So in order to fund the continued development of the Wrestling Metaverse and ensure the overall metaverse is sustainable, several revenue streams will be necessary. The Wrestling Metaverse generates revenues through a number of activities, including the sale of assets and in-game transactions of professional wrestler NFTs, user-generated wrestlers, WM originals, promotions, training fees, moveset upgrades, attire, and advertising. The Wrestling Metaverse's treasury is central to the sustainability of the game's overall economy, the development of the game itself, and growth of the community. Overall, the Wrestling Metaverse treasury serves four main purposes: provide funds for the development of the game, support the long-term sustainability of the in-game token economy, accelerate ecosystem growth through the funding of community-backed and community-led initiatives, enable price stability by participating in NFT and native token buybacks in order to support the long-term sustainable value of the game's economy, and enable the generation of revenue via yield farming to continuously grow the size of the treasury and funds in-game rewards. Still on the revenue model then, we're going to continue going down and we're going to look at this here about the revenue streams and the flow overview. So yeah, this is really mind-blowing, to be fair. When you look at it, it's so intricate, the detail behind it. You can see that WM Treasury is at the center of everything behind this game. It's going to be pushing and developing all of the objectives and providing liquidity. So you've got the primary sales here, the secondary sales here. So if we look, for an example, at a WM original being sold on the secondary sale, 95% of that goes to the owner, and then 5% of that gets fed into the treasury. If you look at the treasury, there's so many different things feeding into it and then consequently coming off it. So the treasury is providing stable coins for rewards inside the game itself. The treasury is doing buybacks of NFTs and tokens. It's providing ecosystem growth. It's investing in liquidity pools. Yeah, it's just really trying to keep that model sustainable. And yeah, this is really good to understand exactly where the revenue comes from and all the different flows. So I'd urge you to have a look at this as well yourself and really understand how deep this concept is, and you know how well thought out it has been by the WM team. So we're going to carry on going through then. We're going to skip through a few sections that are kind of described anyway in the graph that we just went through, and we're going to get then to the white paper vision. So obviously there's a lot of stuff that this project's setting out to do. We want to understand exactly, you know, how they're going to execute this. It's a stretch target, and as you can see from some of the stuff in here, the team's aware of that, but it's always good from my understanding to see, you know, the plans of how they're actually going to deliver against these goals. So they've mentioned that they're going to do this in 4 steps. The first step was building the foundations. They do this by the WM original asset offering, and they're going to onboard professional wrestlers. Step 2 then is enhancing the metaverse experience, so promotion, asset offering, and backstage viewer. Step 3 then is transition into the community ownership. So this is like around the DAO and the governance. So they're going to do an ATTIRE asset offering, revenue generation, and beta version release, as well as decentralization being underway. So this is the stuff around implementing governance procedures and on-chain voting. Step 4 then is when it's going to transition to a fully operational DAO-led metaverse. So the gameplay vision in the white paper is going to be achieved. You're going to be able to do the various different game modes that they've talked about. The achievement unlocked asset sale is going to happen, where they do a final WM asset sale led by the developers to celebrate achieving the white paper's vision. There's going to be the community-led governance, where community can submit and vote for proposals around changes they wish to see in the metaverse. So it might be around different mechanics or different game modes, who knows. And then also a community-driven deployment, where the WM Treasury funds deployment of the Wrestling Metaverse moving forward. That's how the team then is setting out to execute on the vision. We're going to carry on going through the white paper because we're almost at the end here now. So we're going to skip through a few sections and we're going to look at the market research aspect. And yeah, this is a really good graphic. I'd urge you to come and have a look at it as well yourself. So basically what Wrestling Metaverse has done is benchmark themselves against similar wrestling games on different consoles. And yeah, it's really good to see here around the combat, the character creation, the marketplace, the promotions, territory. in-game economy, all of these things that Wrestling Metaverse is bringing, and you can see how it stacks up against the competition. And yeah, I'm just really excited now about this game and to be able to put my wrestlers to work. Let's be honest, blockchain gaming right now is nowhere, you know, where it needs to be compared to like console or computer gaming. The reason that people are playing blockchain games is to earn money. It's not fun. Well, in my opinion, from experiencing it right now, it's not fun. I just do it because you're able to earn rewards. However, Wrestling Metaverse, I think, is going to just completely change it, and people are actually going to be wanting to play the game because it's fun, because it's in-depth, and also because you can earn rewards. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Being a gamer myself, can't wait to participate in this, in a proper AAA title on blockchain, and especially on the Avalanche ecosystem. I think it's really exciting, and I'll definitely be following along. So we're coming up now to the final part, which is around the team behind this project. Firstly, you've got Firefly Technologies. The Wrestling Metaverse is being developed by Firefly Technologies, and they're a technology-focused game studio, and they're not just any amateurs, as you can see from the names here. They've worked on some top titles that I've personally played as well myself, and yeah, so these are some really good games. So they're bringing a lot of experience with them. Stuff like Call of Duty Black Ops 3, the Jetpack game, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Star Wars, Metal Gear, WWE as well. So they've got experience in wrestling games. Something like this gives you confidence because the team's got the best of the best working to develop this Wrestling Metaverse game. And when you've got sort of the great minds from these backgrounds, you're more confident that this is going to be able to succeed. The final part then in this video is just about the Wrestling Metaverse team. So the founder is River, 10 plus years tech experience. He previously ran startups, accelerator program, Forward under the guidance of one of the UK's top entrepreneurs. He's massive hackathon enthusiast, participated in 10 plus hackathons, including Startup Bus, Startup Weekend and Seed Hack. In 2015, he founded Hack Partners Limited, a startup helping slow-moving industries adopt new tech. So regarding technology, developers, he's the main man. He's experienced a lot. Also, I like that growing up, he was glued to the TV playing Final Fantasy, Tekken and Smash Brothers. Tekken certainly was one of the first games that I played on PlayStation. I used to love that game. Going through then, we've got the art director, Hadrian. He's the 3D artist with over 10 years of character modeling experience, specifically for video games. He's worked with industry leaders like Ubisoft. Julian then is advising operations and product. Julian has 7 plus years of experience working at Vungle, one of the world's largest mobile ad tech platforms. Currently he manages a team of product managers across several of Vungle's major product and marketing streams. Specifically, he's been focused on the next generation of monetization and user acquisition products for mobile game studios. Previous to Vungle, he founded 2 companies. At the Wrestling Metaverse, he advises across game design, product and operations. And then finally, we've got the head of community, which is Lewis. He's at Dyslexic on Twitter, and Lewis is a customer specialist with multiple years working with C5 companies, driving business transformation that improved either internal processes or external customer experience. And then the lead developer is Starman. Starman's been developing websites and games for over 15 years as a freelancer with clients including FANG companies. Starting way back making Flash games, these days he loves to play with physically based rendering techniques, creating WebGL experiences and more recently VR experiences. That's going to be it from me then. I'm sorry it was such a long video. I was going through loads of different things in my head of how I could shorten it, and in the end this video could have easily been 3+ hours. I spoke to one of my mates who's also a YouTuber, and he said it's probably best to not upload it into lots of different parts, so this is what I've gone for. I'm going to make sure it's well chaptered as well in the comments so you can flip through and click on the bits that are relevant to you. But I really enjoyed making it anyway. I'm really enjoying making these Avalanche videos, and I've got lots more content planned. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Stay tuned because there's going to be lots more coming in the future.